in the device you're watching this on, in the car that might be sitting in your driveway, and in the very buildings that make up our cities, there's a metal that underpins our entire modern world: aluminum. It's lightweight, strong, and infinitely recyclable. And because of that, it has become one of the most critical resources of the 21st century. Right now, a quiet contest is being waged over its raw ingredient, bauxite. The battleground? A small West African nation that the world has consistently underestimated. While the great powers are distracted by conflicts elsewhere, Sierra Leone is leveraging its immense mineral wealth to orchestrate a play that could fundamentally redraw the global aluminum map. With the backing of two of the West's biggest rivals, China and Russia, this country is aiming to unlock a bauxite boom. It's a resource gambit happening in plain sight, yet the West doesn't seem to see it coming. This is the story of how a nation, long defined by its tragic past, is trying to take control of its future. It's a story of a geopolitical chess game where the building blocks of industry are the prize. And it asks a critical question. As the world's supply chains are rerouted and new alliances are forged, who will be left in control? To understand why this moment is so pivotal for Sierra Leone, you have to understand its history. For decades, the name Sierra Leone was synonymous with one thing: blood diamonds. The brutal civil war that raged from 1991 to 2002 was funded by the illicit diamond trade, leaving a deep and bloody scar on the national psyche. The country became the textbook example of the resource curse. A tragic paradox where a nation blessed with immense natural wealth is plagued by poverty, corruption, and conflict. Revenue from its abundant diamonds, gold, and other minerals rarely benefited the people, instead fueling violence and enriching a select few. For years after the war, Sierra Leone struggled to rebuild. It remained one of the poorest countries on the planet, a place the international community often viewed with a mixture of pity and caution. Investors were hesitant, and the nation's development was slow. That memory of the war created a deep-seated desire within Sierra Leone to do things differently, to ensure that this time its resources would build the nation, not break it. This history is crucial because it created the perfect storm for today's events. On one hand, the government and people of Sierra Leone are acutely aware of the dangers of exploitation. On the other, they are desperately in need of capital, infrastructure, and partners willing to take a risk on them. This created a strategic opening. While Western nations and investors, often constrained by complex regulations, historical baggage, and a perception of high risk, remained on the sidelines, two other global powers saw an opportunity. They saw a nation rich in a mineral critical for the future, a government eager to attract investment, and a geopolitical landscape ripe for disruption. Those powers were China and Russia. They didn't come with the same lectures or conditions that often accompany Western investment. They came with a much simpler proposition. You have the resources we need, and we have the capital and know-how to build the infrastructure to get them. It was a compelling offer, one that promised to finally turn Sierra Leone's resource blessing into a genuine economic boom, free from the ghosts of its past. And the cornerstone of this new ambition is bauxite. The first and most visible architect of this new reality is China. Beijing's strategy in Africa isn't a secret. It's a well-oiled machine built on a simple, powerful principle: infrastructure for resources. And in Sierra Leone, this strategy is unfolding on a major scale. The centerpiece of this plan is the CTC Port Loco Port project. This is not just a dock. It's a transformative investment designed to create a logistical superhighway for Sierra Leone's mineral wealth. The project is a collaboration between CTC Mining and two Chinese state-owned giants, COSCO Shipping Bulk Company Limited, the world's largest dry bulk shipping enterprise, and Bauxite Minerals International Trade Limited, a mineral trading powerhouse. This isn't just a commercial deal. It's a statement of strategic intent. The project reportedly carries a price tag of around $200 million and is designed to handle a staggering 15 to 20 million tons of cargo annually. The bauxite mining project it serves has a stated goal of scaling up production from 5 million tons in its first year to 10 million tons per year from the third year onward. That would be a colossal leap from Sierra Leone's recent output. which has been less than 2 million metric tons annually. In May 2025, Sierra Leone's president Julius Maada Bio officially commissioned the port, hailing it as a strategic gateway to global markets. The project's backers had announced a target for the first phase to be operational in early 2025. For a country whose total bauxite exports represent a small fraction of global production, this is a massive bet. So why is China making such a huge investment in this West African nation? The answer lies in the fundamental dynamics of the global aluminum market. China is the world's largest producer and consumer of aluminum, but it faces a strategic vulnerability, a dependence on imported bauxite. By securing a massive new source in Sierra Leone and controlling the infrastructure to export it, Beijing is doing more than just buying a commodity. It's insulating itself from geopolitical shocks and supply chain disruptions. It's a long-term play to ensure the engine of its industrial economy keeps running smoothly. The deal was solidified during a Sino-Sierra Leone summit in Beijing, attended by Sierra Leone's highest-ranking ministers. This wasn't just a corporate agreement. It was a high-level diplomatic and economic alignment. For Sierra Leone, it's a potential game-changer. For China, it's another critical node in its Belt and Road Initiative, a network of trade and infrastructure that solidifies its influence across the globe. While China executes its long-term infrastructure-led strategy, another global power is moving into Sierra Leone with a different, more urgent set of motivations: Russia. The key player here is Rusal, the world's largest aluminum producer outside of China. For Rusal, securing new sources of bauxite isn't just about expansion, it's about survival. The global aluminum industry has been thrown into turmoil by recent geopolitical events. Following the conflict in Ukraine, Australia banned alumina exports to Russia, and Rusal's operations at its refinery in Ukraine were suspended. These moves effectively cut off crucial sources of raw material for Rusal's massive Siberian smelters, creating a corporate crisis. The company was forced to scramble for new supplies, even buying a stake in a Chinese alumina refinery to fill the gap. This is the context for Russia's intense interest in Sierra Leone. High-level delegations from Rusal have been in the country, scouting potential bauxite mining sites. Sierra Leone's Minister of Mines, Julius Matai, has publicly confirmed these ongoing negotiations, stating that Rusal has shown a lot of interest and that the discussions are about strengthening Russian-African relations, especially in the mining industry. From Russia's perspective, Sierra Leone is a perfect solution. It offers significant bauxite reserves, a government actively seeking partners, and a location outside the direct influence of Western sanctions. A Rusal spokesperson stated the company is considering various opportunities to strengthen its raw material base. For Rusal, a successful deal would be a massive strategic win. This move also aligns with Moscow's broader geopolitical strategy in Africa. By embedding a corporate giant like Rusal into a key sector of Sierra Leone's economy, Russia gains more than just bauxite. It gains economic leverage, strengthens diplomatic ties, and demonstrates that it can build parallel supply chains that bypass its adversaries. Negotiations are reportedly still underway, pending the resolution of legal and concession details. But the mutual interest is clear. Sierra Leone's ambassador to Russia confirmed that Rusal representatives have already been briefed on potential sites and that his country is open to working with Rusal. It would mean the country's bauxite is being sought by both the world's dominant industrial power, China, and one of its primary competitors, Russia. Two giants working in parallel to secure a resource the West has seemingly overlooked. This influx of massive foreign investment promises an economic uplift for Sierra Leone, but this potential revolution comes at a cost, one that is often paid by the land and the local communities living on it. The story of bauxite mining in Sierra Leone isn't just one of geopolitics. It's also a story of significant environmental and social challenges. Across the country's mining regions, the scars of extraction are already visible. Studies and reports from communities in districts like Port Loko and Moyamba paint a grim picture of the impacts of existing operations. Large-scale mining has led to widespread environmental degradation. Deforestation is rampant, as land is cleared for open-pit mines. This, in turn, can lead to severe soil erosion and the degradation of farmland, threatening the livelihoods of communities that have relied on agriculture for generations. Water sources are heavily impacted. Mining activities and waste runoff often contaminate the rivers and streams that people depend on for drinking, cooking, and washing. Air quality also suffers, with dust containing harmful particulate matter from mining and transport blanketing nearby villages, leading to reports of increased respiratory illnesses. These environmental problems can easily translate into social tension. While mining companies provide jobs, there's a persistent feeling among local populations that they bear the environmental burden without seeing enough of the economic benefits. This has led to friction between mining companies and the communities that host them. A significant part of the problem is a gap between policy and practice. National environmental regulations exist, but a lack of enforcement and monitoring means that companies can operate without adequate safeguards, deepening the grievances of affected communities. The challenge for Sierra Leone is to manage this potential bauxite boom sustainably. The revolution holds the potential to fund Sierra Leone's development, but if not managed correctly, it risks repeating the patterns of the past, where the nation's wealth is extracted, leaving behind a scarred landscape and impoverished communities. The West's strategic blind spot. So, with China building ports and Russia negotiating concessions, one question looms large. Where is the West? The story of Sierra Leone's bauxite ambitions is as much about the presence of China and Russia as it is about the comparative quiet from the United States and Europe. While its geopolitical rivals are aggressively securing the building blocks of modern industry, the West appears to be playing a different, more cautious game. It's not that the West is completely absent. There are Western-affiliated companies in Sierra Leone's broader mining sector, like in rutile and gold. And the U.S. recently approved a significant $480 million Millennium Challenge Corporation compact focused on the country's energy sector. But in the strategic play for bauxite, the foundation of the global aluminum supply chain, there is a clear vacuum of direct, large-scale Western investment to rival what China and Russia are bringing to the table. Why the hesitation? The reasons are complex. Western companies often operate under stricter investor scrutiny, environmental, social, and governance (ESG) mandates, and anti-corruption laws, which can make them more risk-averse in challenging markets. There may also be a degree of geopolitical fatigue or a strategic focus on other regions. Some analysts point to a broader policy failure, an inability to match the integrated, state-backed approach of China, which seamlessly blends commercial interests with long-term geopolitical strategy. Whatever the reason, the West is at risk of being outmaneuvered. Global supply chains are being reconfigured in real time. Access to critical minerals like bauxite is becoming a central pillar of national security and economic stability. Allowing rivals to gain a dominant position in a new, major source of this material could be a significant strategic blunder. The quiet contest is being waged not with armies but with contracts, cranes, and cargo ships. It's a competition for influence and resources happening right under our noses. By the time Western policymakers and business leaders recognize the full implications of Sierra Leone's bauxite plans, the game may have already changed. Sierra Leone's bauxite ambition reflects a shifting global reality, where nations use natural resources to forge alliances and chart their own paths. Once defined by struggle, Sierra Leone now sits at the center of a geopolitical realignment, driven by China's infrastructure push and Russia's strategic interests. This offers an opportunity for lasting development, but comes with environmental and social risks. For the West, it is a wake-up call. Established supply chains are no longer secure. The balance of industrial power is shifting, and the world watches to see who acts wisely and who is left behind.